This recording is to discuss a portion of Chapter 12 in the handbook, the external cause codes or coding. There is an external cause index that I mentioned in earlier recordings. This is starting on page 394 of your index. It's sort of a dark gray. It's the last of the dark gray before you get to the color banding, and you can see that it starts alphabetically with A. But first of all, if you have your code book open to that, and then external causes of morbidity codes on page 125, 126. External cause codes are to provide information for injury research and evaluation of injury prevention strategies. The one thing to note too is that external cause codes can be assigned to illnesses as well as injuries if the illness is due to an external cause, which could be something like asbestos exposure might cause some sort of cancers or conditions like that. External cause codes generally start with the letters V, W, X, or Y, and they fall at the end of the listing of a patient's diagnosis codes. So if a patient has multiple active diagnoses, let's say coronary artery disease, diabetes, COPD, they have an arm fracture, something like that. After all of those active diagnosis codes, you then list the external cause codes. External cause codes are not always required. A lot of times they're used primarily for research. Sometimes workers' compensation cases might request external cause codes, and so by facility it's decided whether or not you need to code external causes. If we look at the types of external cause codes, there are actually 4 of them, and if you look on page 126 in the handbook, under using Z codes and external cause of morbidity codes section, in the first paragraph, third sentence or so, it says external cause codes are assigned as additional codes to indicate how the injury or health condition happened. And the 4 types are number 1, so the cause or the intent. Okay, that's kind of one and the same. What's the cause or what was the intent? Was it an accident? Was it an assault? That type of thing. The second type of external cause is the place of occurrence. And then the third type is the activity of the patient at the time of the event. And the fourth type of external cause code is the status of the patient. Were they a civilian, military? Other statuses include volunteers, students, someone getting paid, that type of situation. You can look at the very front of your code book in the section for external causes, and it talks about external cause in greater detail. So again, where your guidelines were in the front of the book, or if you have the document website from CMS on the guidelines, that 107-page document, you can see more information about external causes. So how do you look up external cause codes? For your intent or cause, your main term is going to be, what was that intent or cause? Is it an assault? Is it an accident? Was it a fall? That type of thing. The various words used, all in the index for external causes. To look up the place of occurrence code in the external cause index, again, your main term is place of occurrence. Makes it easy. To look up the activity of the patient, again, using the external cause index, you look up the main term activity. And then finally, to look up the status external cause code, you look in the index of external causes under the main term status. And there you only have a handful of choices under status. Now, in your guidelines it reads that the patient's first visit due to this illness or injury, you code all 4 of those types if they're documented. Okay? If they're not documented, you can't code all 4 types. But then when the patient continues to see a provider for the illness or injury, you only repeat the intent or cause, external cause code, each time. You don't have to repeat the place of occurrence, activity, or status for every single visit for that illness or injury. External cause codes will come up in later chapters where we have injuries and so on, so not addressed a great deal in this book, but till that chapter. That's the end of this recording.